Paula Giddings's 1984 book, When and Where I Enter, The Impact of Black Women on Race and Sex in America, sheds light on the vital role of Black women in social and political activism throughout American history. From the era of slavery to the civil rights movements, Black women's contributions were often overlooked in mainstream historical accounts, but Giddings's nonfiction narrative aims to rectify this oversight. The book begins with the powerful story of Ida B. Wells, an influential figure in the fight against lynching in the late 19th century. As the owner of the weekly Afro-American newspaper, the Memphis Free Speech, Wells fearlessly investigated and exposed over 700 lynchings in the South, shedding light on the racist motivations behind these heinous acts. Giddings then delves into the history of slavery in colonial America, highlighting the various forms of servitude experienced by lower-class whites and blacks. Even during these dark times, Black women played crucial roles in resistance. They resisted by abstaining from sex to prevent more enslaved individuals from being born into captivity, and some even resorted to inducing abortions. Working alongside male slaves in the fields, Black women experienced a level of gender equality that was denied to most white women of privilege. Throughout the book, Giddings portrays Black women as strong agents of change, defying the dual oppressions of racism and sexism. Their struggles and resilience in the face of adversity shaped American culture in ways that were often unsung and underappreciated. By shedding light on their stories, Giddings celebrates the remarkable impact of Black women on the nation's history and progress towards equality. In the latter half of the 19th century, white culture embraced the concept of the cult of true womanhood, which idealized women as submissive, pure, and solely dedicated to domestic and moral responsibilities. This patriarchal framework marginalized women whose roles extended beyond their families. For Black women, this societal construct further complicated matters, as the institution of slavery deemed them as labor and sexualized commodities, branding them as impure. The association of purity, womanhood, and whiteness created a divide between Black and white women, hindering the potential for coalition politics. In 1866, Susan B. Anthony and Frederick Douglass established the American Equal Rights Association to advocate for suffrage for both Black and female citizens. However, tensions arose when the 15th Amendment granted suffrage exclusively to Black men, leading to disagreements between the sexes and races. While some Black women supported the amendment as a means of uplifting their entire race, white women activists objected, feeling their voting rights were being overshadowed. The book's primary focus centers on the period from 1890 to 1945, when Black female activism in American history was most organized and impactful. After the Civil War, Black men aimed to assert their identity as free individuals entitled to patriarchal privileges, including male dominance. However, challenges in finding stable employment, compounded by low-wage white immigrant labor and racist union policies, hindered their efforts to support their families. As a result, Black women continued to participate actively in the labor market and even engaged in organizing efforts to secure fair wages. By the 1880s, Black women were ready to begin institutionalizing their claims to economic, social, and political equality, as described by Giddings. This institutionalization manifested in the form of various organizations, clubs, and schools, which served as crucial tools in advancing their demands for equality and social progress. In 1886, Lucy C. Lane, the daughter of a slave, founded the Haynes Normal and Industrial Institute in Augusta, Georgia. Despite growing numbers of educated Afro-American women, many still found themselves trapped in menial jobs and poverty, becoming increasingly frustrated with the lack of progress in improving their situation by Black leaders. In response, Black women rallied together to advocate for their rights. In 1892, women in New York and Boston formed Black women's clubs with the mission of advancing the progress of both Black people and women. These clubs quickly multiplied across the nation. As a result of Ida B. Wells's tireless activism and anti-lynching campaign, the National Association of Colored Women, NACW, was established in 1896, with Mary Church Terrell as its president. Unlike previous organizations, the NACW was exclusively for and run by Black women, demonstrating their growing independence and influence. Within 2 decades of its founding, the NACW had 50,000 members in 28 federations and over 1,000 clubs, signifying its significant impact. Though many active NACW members had access to education and economic privilege, their work aimed to uplift less fortunate Black women and children. The organization advocated for federal funds to establish kindergartens and encouraged the formation of day nurseries. As Black women faced marginalization due to both race and gender, their organizing efforts placed them at the forefront of civil rights and feminist movements in the 20th century. Collaborating with white women, albeit with some unease, they achieved significant milestones, including universal female suffrage, opportunities for Blacks during the New Deal era, and ongoing progress in labor rights. Black women's resilience and determination paved the way for meaningful social change and equality. Black women throughout history have challenged traditional gender roles and racial norms, making significant contributions to various social and political movements. Take Madam C. J. Walker, for instance, a millionaire entrepreneur who defied conventions and achieved remarkable success. Rosemary Parks, too, stood against racial prejudices, showing great courage in the face of adversity. Ella Baker, a prominent leader in the Southern Christian Leadership Council and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee during the 1960s, played a vital role in supporting Martin Luther King Jr. and the nonviolent Black resistance movement. Black women have consistently advocated for female equality, although they have sometimes had to prioritize racial issues due to the life-threatening impact of racism. This complex intersection of race and gender has at times led to tension and mistrust between Black and white feminists. However, as Giddings emphasized in a 1985 interview, Black women belong at the heart of both the fight for Black rights and women's rights. Their multifaceted activism and determination have positioned them as essential agents of change in society. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.